This is the, they say 3 times is a charm. Yesterday was audio difficulties. It was my dog sitting on my lap. So the the audio didn't come in. Now I just did. I was doing 5:30 today like I promised, but it got too hot. It's only 106 here in Arizona. What's going on? It's everything said. It said I was going to lose. Well, I was overheating, so I'm going to make this much quicker, so I can actually get this. Okay, the title is Surrounded. What do you mean surrounded? My first high school, out of my 3 high schools, this first high school is where my parents graduated. All my family graduated. It was a small town, and pretty much was just black and white in the school. This is 1970. There were some tumultuous times. That's all, and the kids took over the school. They took over 3 places. It was at the principal's office with bats and chains, the cafeteria and library. These are the 3 places. And so long as you didn't go to those 3 places, I guess you're okay. I didn't go. We had a normal day. Now, what I find interesting is, as I look into this, May 4th, 1970 is when Kent State happened. It was a very negative thing where, well, some kids got shot. 4 kids got shot, 9 wounded. The National Guard was pulled in. And from there, it was a ripple effect all over the United States, if anybody remembers that. I kind of remember it, but I remember this day 4 months later, my second day at school. My first day, I don't know how I got detention, but I was in the principal's office, but the kids weren't there. So I was going to get detention the next day. So as I'm walking up the stairs to get to homeroom, I get pushed down by a guy named Bradley. He was a troublemaker. And why did this happen? Well, it has to do with 3 altar boys. 3. I was one of them. No bad stories. There was Tom, Tucky, and me. Now, beknownst to me, Tucky is the one who got beat up the first day. They circled him and put him in a hospital. Broken arm, broken leg, and some broken ribs. Now that I think about it, I did not see him the rest of that year. So he must have never came back to school. I was watering the plants. I'm thinking, hey, Tucky, I didn't see Tucky after that. And I didn't know about Tucky, it happening to him until 5 years later when Tom told me. Now, that is why Tom sold some of the kids salt. Salt being... well, they thought it was something else. So as they're snorting the salt, they're saying, what a great, great feeling this is. And then all of a sudden, they realize it's salt. Tom is now gone. Now there's no Tucky, no Tom. There's just me. And that is why when your parents say, kids, or anybody's watching, you pick your friends wisely. Because if they can't get them, they're going to get you. Well, they already got Tucky. And Tom was, he did a disappearing act. I didn't see him for a couple of days. So as I'm going up the stairs and I get pushed down backwards, I rolled perfectly to where I just had my back against the wall while Bradley's punching his hand in his fist. As we all know, hand and fist means there's a fight after school. And if there's a fight after school, everybody wants to see what's going on. Actually, they want to see blood. In most cases. The teacher's walking up as I'm rolling down, and he looks at Bradley. He does nothing to Bradley. He takes a left, and I'm wondering, why didn't he say something? Because my dad, who's a teacher, would have said, you're definitely suspended, or at least detention, or excommunicated, where you get kicked out of school forever. No, he didn't do any of that. So now, hindsight later, I'm thinking, this is when the kids took over the principal's office. So what is he going to say? Bradley, go to the principal's office? Or you have detention? By the way, I had detention that day. So I thought, well, it's got to be a push. Because if you have detention, nobody waits for you after school. Little did I know, there was hundreds of kids waiting for Uncle Martin. Okay? All right. Yeah, Elijah Chef, send $10. Hope you enjoy this money. Elijah $50. I don't have any set up for $50. I don't need any money, but maybe somewhere down the line. We have a situation where I'm in the homeroom, listening to a voice screaming over the loudspeaker. Where the day before it was a principal, now it's a female screaming, we have 10 demands. First demand, we want Black history. And I said, hey man, you can have Black history, just make sure it's true Black history. Second thing was, we don't want any more crummy food in the cafeteria. Hey, I'm all down for that. I don't want any of that crummy food either. They never did fix that pizza. So those are the only two I remember. Now, the whole day was even. I mean, it was just totally normal, except if you went to those three places, which I didn't have any plans on doing. So at the end of the day, I'm in detention. Now, Bradley's going back and forth with his hand in his fist, which means he can't wait for me to get outside, which I couldn't wait either. But if you remember, Dad had some strict rules in fighting. You never ever hit a girl. If I see or hear of you fighting, it'll be a black belt beating like you never had before. And if you're gonna fight, you better arm wrestle first. And if you arm wrestle or fight, don't care if you win or lose, you better shake hands. And after that, he says, if it's the biggest guy, you go over to the biggest guy and knock him out. That's what I live with, all right? Hello, Uncle Martin, Robert Porch. Hello, Robert. And the rest of you that I haven't said hello to. So we're at, in the detention room. It's time's up. Everybody skedaddles out. They want to get out of here. And as I look out the doors there's some kids blocking the doors. It's only me that's going to go out those doors. Everybody else is gone. So I look up the stairs and there's a bunch of kids that way. I look at that way and there's kids blocking that way. Now I go up to the main doors where they burst open and there's nobody there. Yeah, imagine that. Now I got to just regress 1 second. Mom always said, when we asked her, how did you and Dad fall in love, Mom? She says it was love at first sight. Now, kids, when you ask that question to your parents, you got to keep going until you get the right answer. I don't have time for all that, but that's what I was thinking when I opened up the door, because Dad would burst open the doors and Mom would see him and he'd walk down to the iron fence there when their first meeting, and he walked to the right and she says, hello, and he said, hello. It was love at first sight. Now, that's what I was thinking when I burst open the doors until, well, I saw hundreds of kids. Slay, I love your hat. Hey, this is a mini Tonka hat. It's 1948. It's leather. It's been through some desert, some rain, some snow. They're fantastic. Mini Tonkas. So I get outside, and now I see hundreds of kids. They're all black kids. I didn't see one white kid. And they had like a Leo sign. It goes this way all the way down to the wrought iron steel I was talking about, and comes back over this way, and it's a big Leo sign. I only had one way, down the stairs, and there's Bradley with the rest of the gang. And he said, I'm coming down, and he's saying, wow, I was ready to fight him. Arm wrestling, it's past that at this point, kids. I say, well, let's do it. And then Bradley says, he says, hey, let's do to him what we did to the guy yesterday. And I'm thinking in my mind, the guy yesterday, I didn't know it was Tucky, but I do know he went to the hospital. And I didn't know it was for 2 weeks. I didn't know it was an arm, a leg, and some ribs. But I knew he's in a hospital. I don't plan on going to a hospital. So as I get down the stairs more, I'm thinking, I guess I got to go to rule number 4. I got to find the biggest guy. And as I looked around, there was a big guy, the biggest guy in the whole stadium there. It was Moon, and I didn't know it was Moon. Well, let's see, two months prior to that, I happened to go by the b-ball, and he was playing by himself, and I said, hey, you want to play? And he said, yeah. He said, yep. And we played 3 games. It was 2 horse and 1 around the world, and I happened to beat him on horse, which was remarkable. That's what I heard later. And he's a guy that stayed back about 4 or 5 times, so people kind of left him alone. In fact, you didn't want to bother Moon, is what it came down to. So I'm looking over and I'm thinking, oh my God, I got to go over casually and knock out Moon, but maybe there's a way out of this. And I yelled, and then by that time I heard somebody say, hey, who's that cracker? And then I thought, hey man, that's rather negative. And then I yelled out, Moon! And he said, nothing. And then they were all kind of waiting to where I had to say it again, Moon. And then he looked at me and acknowledged me. That was fantastic. And I said, Moon, this is only between Bradley and me, right? You know what he said? Well, it took forever. But he was assessing my character. Not the character I am, but the character that I was when I was playing b-ball with him. He was assessing that he didn't think that I had anything to do with the salt. That's what I'm thinking. Because his answer was, yep. Yep means it's him, Bradley, and me. And as you well know, when there's a fight, there's going to be a fight. Even if and they want to see blood usually. So now I know Bradley can't go anywhere because we're all encircled. So I get over to him and he's doing this jump around like a Muhammad Ali. By the way, I think Muhammad Ali was the best fighter around, even to this day. Leave me a comment if you think so. Nah. So we got Bradley jumping around his feet. I'm a butterfly. I'm gonna sting you like a bee, something like that. And all of a sudden, I'm looking down his feet and pop. He gets me and splits my lip right open. I'm tasting my blood. I'm seeing it all over my shirt. Sons of Hercules went through me. And I said, well, I can't hit him with all my strength because I was strong then and I'm strong now by God's grace. I said, where am I going to hit him? So I hit him right in the middle of the chest. Hit him about 3/4 of my strength. He went down on his knees. His head was up like this. I could have popped him out. Could have done. But I said, nah, that's rather negative. And I could see he didn't want to jump up again to do any more fighting. So I put my hand out. He jumps up. We're shaking hands. And I'm looking here. Everybody's smiling there. They're smiling there. He's smiling. I'm smiling. Everybody's smiling. But I could not let him go. It was just one of those things. Dad, when he... Remember the story when I told you of Dad shaking that bully's hand that pushed me and shoved me, 10 years older than me? And he squeezed enough to where his veins were sticking out of his arm because I was looking at him. I had to do the same thing. I didn't make him cry. I just had to show him exactly what Uncle Martin had. So I let him go. What happens? We look around. Everybody leaves, gets up and lows. Everybody goes home. All right. So my point on this is, we are in tumultuous times. There was a lot of negative things going on, not like right now, but I think we can work things out, is what I'm saying. Now, the rest of the year, there was no more ring around the rosy. All right. Prior to that, it was one of the main events after school. That didn't happen anymore. Hey, isn't that amazing? Plus, whenever you take care of a bully or a ringleader, what you're going to do is get friends the next day, which I did. I had 2 or 3 10th graders that now are my best friends. I found out later they're bullies. 11th grader, he was a bully. Now they'll want to be like part of my gang or something. So that is always your test to go the negative way or positive. And I went the positive way to where we didn't have any more ring around the rosy, okay? And the thing I want to say is make sure you pick friends like your parents tell you, kids, anybody's listening, to where whoever you pick as a friend, if they can't get you, if they can't get them, they're going to get you. That's all there is to it. Now, who do we got? Your hat. Hi. Slay. Hi. Robert Porch. Hello, Martin. Hey, guys. I got one thing to say to you. When I post this, I know I can post it this time. I don't get any of the. I can see you now, but when I repost it, everything's zipped out. I don't know what's going on. Somebody's got to help me with that. But if you have any questions for Uncle Martin, you give me a question, and I'll do the best I can for answering you. Now, I got to make this short because it's hot out here. 100, not hot, but 106, and I'm going to overheat again on my phone. I don't want to do this 4 times now. I'm kind of getting better at it, but tomorrow at 5:30, I will have something even, well, I think better than this one. I was in 6th grade, and I had to deal with a 9th grader who was the bully of the school, and we beat him up. This is what I heard from Tom. After we beat him up, they were never the same again. Yeah, how many times have you heard that? A bully takes people out, and the kids are never the same again. Well, what I want to say is, when you do it to a bully, they're never the same again either. Bradley was never the same. So I'm going to have a great one for you tomorrow. Has to do. See, I went to 20 schools. I did graduate. My parents were teachers. So this case in 6th grade, it wasn't just me that went to the whole class went to 4 different schools. What's the chances of that? Okay. God bless you for hanging out so long. Give me a thumbs up or down at least. Comment would be fantastic. I don't know. If you want to subscribe, I would suggest you watch one of my videos first before you just jump aboard. That's just me. Okay, until we see each other again. Be well. God victory. And I'm going to post it this time. Where we go.